This is Land of Havilah, Ezekiel 13. In this 23-verse chapter, the false prophets lead Israel astray, and Yahweh's going to do something about it. Verse 1. Yahweh's word came to me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the prophets of Israel who prophesy, and say to those who prophesy out of their own heart, Hear Yahweh's word. Thus says the Lord Yahweh, Woe to the foolish prophets who follow their own spirit and have seen nothing. Israel, your prophets have been like foxes in the waste places. You have not gone up into the gaps or built up the wall for the house of Israel to stand in the battle in Yahweh's day. You have seen falsehood and lying divination, who say, Yahweh says, but Yahweh has not sent them. They have made men to hope that the word would be confirmed. Haven't you seen a false vision, and haven't you spoken a lying divination, in that you say, Yahweh says, but I have not spoken? Comment in verses 1 to 3, Yahweh says, Ezekiel, prophesy against the false prophets of Israel. They prophesy out of their own hearts, and not from me. Tell them, Hear Yahweh's word. Woe to the foolish prophets who prophesy from their own spirit, but have seen nothing. In verse 4, Israel's prophets have been like foxes among the waste places. That line makes more sense in the NET Bible, that Israel's prophets have been like jackals among the ruins, which is to say the false prophets are nothing more than scavengers for scraps in a nation that's as good as ruined. In verse 5, the false prophets have not shored up the gaps in the walls of the house of Israel to stand in the battle in Yahweh's day, which means the false prophets have done nothing to protect Israel from Yahweh's coming wrath. In verse 6, their divinations are lies. Their information is false. Yahweh has not sent them. They've made men hope that the word would be confirmed, which means they've made people hope that their prophecies are true. They prophesy peace and safety, Jeremiah 6:14, and everyone hopes that's true. All the while the true prophets, such as Jeremiah and Ezekiel, are prophesying destruction. The false prophets are contradicting the word of the Lord and preventing the people from knowing what's coming, and preventing them from repenting so that they could avoid what's coming. Verse 8. Therefore, thus says the Lord Yahweh, because you've spoken falsehood and seen lies, therefore, behold, I'm against you, says the Lord Yahweh. My hand will be against the prophets who see false visions and who utter lying divinations. They will not be in the council of my people, neither will they be written in the writing of the house of Israel, neither will they enter into the land of Israel. Then you will know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Because they have seduced my people, saying peace, and there is no peace. When one builds up a wall, behold, they plaster it with whitewash. Tell those who plaster it with whitewash that it will fall. There will be an overflowing shower, and you, great hailstones, will fall. A stormy wind will tear it. Behold, when the wall has fallen, won't it be said to you, Where is the plaster with which you've plastered it? Therefore, thus says the Lord Yahweh, I will even tear it with a stormy wind in my wrath. There will be an overflowing shower in my anger, and great hailstones in wrath to consume it. So I will break down the wall that you have plastered with whitewash, and bring it down to the ground so that its foundation will be uncovered. It will fall, and you will be consumed in the middle of it. Then you will know that I am Yahweh. Thus I will accomplish my wrath on the wall and on those who have plastered it with whitewash. I will tell you, the wall is no more, neither those who plastered it. To wit, the prophets of Israel who prophesy concerning Jerusalem and who see visions of peace for her, and there is no peace, says the Lord Yahweh. Comment in verse 8, Yahweh is against the false prophets because they speak lies. In verse 9, Yahweh's hand is against them, which means he'll reach down with his hand and deal with them personally. They imagine they'll go down in history like the prophets of old, but Yahweh will write them out of the history of Israel. They'll not be in the council of the people, which means Yahweh will squelch their influence. There'll be no fame for them. In verses 10 to 15, their prophecies are like an unstable wall of loose stones that will fall over. In other words, their prophecies of peace and safety are about to be proven untrue. Their advice and counsel are about to collapse. And they even go to the trouble of plastering and whitewashing the wall, which means they elaborate on their false prophecies. They package them up to be as appealing as possible. In verse 12, when the wall falls, won't they say to you, what happened to your plaster job? In verse 13, Yahweh himself will tear down the wall with his wrath and stormy wind. He'll take it down with a flood and hailstones and consume it in great wrath, which means he'll do the opposite of what they predict. Their prophecies will collapse. In verse 14, the wall's foundation will be uncovered. Everyone will see to the bottom of it. They'll know the prophets were false. And you'll be consumed in the middle of it, which means the false prophecies will collapse on top of the false prophets and consume them or kill them. The prophecies will collapse on top of them. In verse 15, the wall will be no more, and those who plastered it will be no more. In verse 16, they prophesy peace concerning Jerusalem, but there is no peace. Coming up, their prophecies are like pillows, also translated wristbands, and like kerchiefs, also translated headbands. The point is that the false prophetesses craft prophecies like women doing craft work. Verse 17, You, son of man, set your face against the daughters of your people, who prophesy out of their own heart, and prophesy against them, and say, Thus says the Lord Yahweh, Woe to the women who sew pillows on all elbows, and make kerchiefs for the head of persons of every stature to hunt souls. Will you hunt the souls of my people and save souls alive for yourselves? You have profaned me among my people for handfuls of barley and for pieces of bread, to kill the souls who should not die, and to save the souls alive who should not live, by your lying to my people who listen to lies. Comment in verse 17, Ezekiel, prophesy against the women prophets who prophesy from their own hearts and not from me. In verse 18, Woe to you, women who craft prophecies and customize them for your patrons, like making a custom pillow or wristband or headband or kerchief. Will you hunt their souls to keep yourselves alive? In verse 19, you have profaned my name, giving them prophecies in exchange for a handful of barley or a few pieces of bread, to kill souls who should not die, and to save souls who should not live, by lying to anyone who will listen. Coming up, more about Yahweh being angered by false prophecy, verse 20. Therefore, thus says the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am against your pillows, with which you hunt the souls to make them fly, and I'll tear them from your arms. I'll let the souls go, even the souls whom you hunt to make them fly. I'll also tear your kerchiefs and deliver my people out of your hand, and they will be no more in your hand to be hunted. Then you will know that I am Yahweh. Because with lies you have grieved the heart of the righteous, whom I have not made sad, and strengthened the hands of the wicked, that he should not return from his wicked way and be saved alive. Therefore you shall no more see false visions nor practice divination. I will deliver my people out of your hand. Then you will know that I am Yahweh. Comment in verse 20, I'm against the false prophecies that you craft. If I would allow you to continue, you would trap the righteous like birds. I'll rip the righteous from your grasp and set them free, because you hunt them like birds, trapping them with your lies. In verse 21, I'll tear your kerchiefs, meaning I'll rip up your false prophecies. I'll deliver my people from your grasp. In verse 22, with your lies you've done a disservice to the righteous and the wicked. The righteous you've grieved when I didn't intend him to be grieved. The wicked you've encouraged so that he keeps on being wicked. You keep him from being saved. Therefore you won't see any more false visions or practice divination. I'll deliver my people from your influence. Then you will know that I am Yahweh. Ezekiel 14 is next.